Okay, so the type of null is object, kind of weird, but don't worry about it. But otherwise, all the different values, the type is actually what it is, right? So for string, the type is string, number is number, Boolean is Boolean, right? Only the type of null is object. Okay, I would say just try this out. I'll give you a few minutes to try this out. The programming is all about practicing. If you don't practice, you lose a skill. Try different values, right? Create your own variables like this, and then pass through it to see what do you get. Once you finish it, if you have logged in, just save it, give it a name, variable types. I would usually put some, date here. So today's date, and then name of the class, and then name of the content. So try it out and let me know if you have any questions. Programming is fun once you start getting it. It becomes more interesting. It's when you don't get it, then it becomes very difficult. A lot of people say, programming is tough because they're not getting it, right? I mean, obviously true for anything that you learn in life, right? If you get it, it's easy. If you don't get it, it's hard. But it's very true for programming because once you start getting a few things, your brain wants more. So Mariana asks, undefined is a data type. So undefined is, let's try this. So usually when you create a variable, I would always encourage you to put one of these values, right? But if I can create a variable like this, test, right? And I did not set a value. I did not say null. I did not say true, number, or string. If I, let's say, put test here and say, what is the data type for test? And run this. It will give me undefined. This is something kind of built into JavaScript. It lets you do this, right? It lets you do this because JavaScript was designed to be a very flexible language. A lot of other languages don't have this, freedom to do something like this. JavaScript does. So what JavaScript does is, oh, you haven't defined any type or haven't assigned a value. I don't know what the type is going to be. So it gives you something called undefined. So undefined is also a null. It's an empty value. You would get this when you do something like this. Okay, so it's an empty value. Is it a type? I would call it a type. But if you're a mature developer, you try to avoid doing things like that. There are cases where you have to do this. But as a programmer, I would prefer to do this, right? So you will never deal with undefined. But yeah, there are times when you have to do this. Okay. So that's data type. Everyone done with this? Okay, let me know if you're still working on it so before I clean it up. There's also something called alert, which I usually don't teach, but if I do this and run it, this is like an old, it kind of gives you this message like this. I prefer having a message like this because this is called blocking message. It kind of blocks the execution of, so the next line won't run. Console log is not blocking, which means it just keeps running and gives you result for everything. So there are cases where I would use the alert, but most of the time I don't do that. Comments. This is a comment. What is a comment? Comment is not actual code. It's just something that you write to annotate, right? I want to, let's say if I.
Sorry, I missed something. Can you say it again?
I think Alexa is misbehaving, but anyway. So the comment is when you, let's say if I create a variable called name, like this, right? And I want to say, obviously this kind of self-explanatory, but let's say if you want to put comment so that anyone who's reading it understands what that means, right? So that's the one use of comment. Another use of comment is I have this line of code that I just don't want to, I want to keep it there, but I can use it for later on. Then I'll just comment it out, which means it's there, but it won't execute. It's not deleted, which means anytime I want to activate it again, I just do this, right? So double slash gives you a comment, but this is called single line comment. I want to do multiple line comments. So let's say this is a one line, right? And then there's another line. And I want to comment both of them, right? Together. I can do this, obviously, but if I have 50 of such lines, it's a lot, right, to do. Otherwise, I can do something like this, opening and closing. So /*/ this means anything in between, comment it out. Right, and then I can write the next line. So this is called multi-line comment. What I usually do is I don't like multi-line comments these days. So what I do is I would highlight everything. And then on my keyboard, I would just say control/, try this, control or command /. If you're on PC, it's control /. If you're on Mac, it's command /. When you do that, it comments it out, uncomments it when you do it again. When you become a very efficient developer, you will learn this kind of tricks so that you become faster. All right. Okay, so that's comment. So we learned about the data types, and we learned about defining variables, data types, and comments. Next thing we're going to learn about, I'm going to go a little fast because these stuff is, some basic stuff, but you need it. But I can speed through it. But again, if you have any question, let me know. Okay, and then you can watch this video again. I'm going to post it. What else do we need? Let's go through each data type individually to understand a little bit more, right? So I have this name, right? I want to do a lot of operations on it, right? When you're given a string, sometimes what you want to do is you want to, let's say, I don't know, capitalize it. You want to find the length. So find the length. Let's find the length. So let length equal to anyone remember? I think I remember. Mariana probably remember. How do I get the length of an array?
Dot length.
Dot length. So dot is a operator. I'll tell you why it's always anything you want to print. Obviously, you do console log length, right? So it's 5, which is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So any string after you put dot, you have access to a lot of different methods. Length is a property of this string, okay, which lets you access the length of it. If I want to know more about it, there is what I would do is I would run this and I would open an inspector. So if I right click on this screen, it opens an inspector on the side like this, and I would expand it. Okay, those who are done a lot of you know what, I forgot which I think if you do this way, it will open up. Maybe, yeah, this, you use this. Don't worry about what it is, but if you did this, it opens up the special tool where you can see everything that is available to you that you can do with this string. It's like a secret passage. When you do gaming, right? It lets you, there's some clues there, right? This is one of the clues. So here, I want to make something bold. I want to find something, a character at, some of these things are actually deprecated, which means it's no longer relative. So don't try everything, but there are some things that are still very useful. So let's try something interesting. Do you guys want to pick something, or do you want me to pick something? If you are interested. All right, you guys are quiet, so I'm gonna pick this repeat, Let's see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do name dot repeat, and I'm going to say 5. Let's see what happens. It repeated my name 5 times. Something very cool, right? So when you're doing programming, there are lots of things that you wanna do, right? If you don't know what to, so you can Google it. Like if I don't know what, let's say, slice does, right? What I would do is I would go and find this out, and I would call it like this. Okay, and it will help me, do something, right? I mean, do I really want this feature? Not right now, but there are cases where I want to do this, right? Repeat is a pretty cool feature. I want to do, let's say, slice. Let's try slice. Let's see what this does. All right. So what I would do is I would always start with JavaScript, string slice method. If I don't know what it is, I would Google it. So let's say if this is the string, right? And if I say slice 31, then what it does is it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, like 31, and it slice me that after that. So let's try this, and we can figure this out, right? I usually don't use slice, but so let's say I'm just going to put 1 here. Let's see what happens. Programming is all about trying out to figure things out, right? So I'm expecting it starts from HE, as I expected, right? So it removed the first line, first character, basically, from here. So if I want to remove something from my string, I can use it, right? If I do 2, then it's going to remove a T and H. Okay. So again, it's a very useful feature. Length, you're going to be using pretty much regular basis, right? Slice, not that much. Repeat, not that much. But anytime you want to do something, I would just Google it, right? And it will give you one of these, right? This is like a nice passage. I can, just to see, let's say to lowercase, for example. This you may use string to lowercase. And again, every one of these has a specific structure you want to follow. Lowercase, basically, if I have, right, I want to convert it to lowercase. Oh, not this one. This guy here. We don't no longer need this. We don't need length. Right. So even if it's all uppercase, it made it lowercase. Right. So yeah, you may need this kind of function, right? So, as I said, not all of these functions are useful because some of them are already deprecated, like blink. I don't think blink really works. If I just use blink, I don't think it works. It gives you this, right? I think even this doesn't work. Let's see if it do. If I put in HTML, I don't know if it does it work or not? I don't know. It's supposed to blink like this, right? But it doesn't blink anymore. So some of the things are already deprecated. I don't use it. There are some cool animation features that you can use just to blink stuff, but yeah. So yeah, this just go through it. I can give you a good list that you can use here. So let's start with yeah, bold is you may use bold, right? Bold. You may use concat. Concat you probably don't need to use. Ends with. You want to check if something ends with certain character, right? So is this name, does this end with L or something else? You can check, right? If you need to check that. What else? Obviously length is very important. Let's say what else? Repeat, repeat, I don't know much. Replace. So if I want to replace E with M, I can do that. I can replace something from a string, right? So replace is pretty important. Replace all. Replace all. This replace the first occurrence of it, but replace all. Replace pretty much everything, all the occurrences of it. We can look at it. Start with, similar to end with, there's something called start with. If I want to check if something starts with something, right? Does this start with H? I want to check, right? I can use the start with. Again, you don't have to memorize all of these, but I would just say try this out on your own time. If you don't know what it is, Google it, find an example, practice it, right? This gives you overall kind of feeling that if, when you start coding, let's say suddenly you want to make something, replace, a character. I don't want you to build stuff that's already there, right? You just have to use it. So I want to show you what's there, right? Trim. Remove all the spaces from it, around it, right? So if I have some spaces in the front or back, it removes it. So a good example would be if I have something like this, right? And if I do console log name, right? Let's do it now. I can see some space around it, right? But I can do this dot trim. And remove all the spaces. Let's say if I just want to remove spaces from the front, so you can say trim start, or just from the end, then trim end, right? So toString is also a good feat. toString. Something I want to convert from, I mean, in this case, it's already a string, so I don't think it's useful, but for numbers, if I want to know, if I want to convert it to string, I can do that. Okay. So any question on this one? All right. Again, it's the first class, so I want to go a little lighter on weight. So far you can create a variable using let keyword. You can, the data types, and we looked at the specific data type, which is string, and looked at its methods, which allows you to do different operations. So you don't have to do those things, right? Build yourself. Now let's look at operators. Operators. Most of the time, operators are, think of a math, right? There are some math operators, or sometimes some people call it arithmetic operators, right? So let's move to numbers now. So let's say if I define x, or let's say n1, number 1 is 1 and number 2 equal to 2, right? If I want to add them, I would use add operator, right? So let n equal to n1 plus n2, right? We all know what this would entail, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. So if I console log n, this would be 3, right? So I would clear it, right? So this is an arithmetic operator plus. If I change to minus, this would be 1 minus 2, which is minus 1, right? Obviously, multiplication is this is multiplication, which would be 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, and division, where 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. Right? So these are arithmetic operators. We already looked at the assignment operator. So equal sign is assignment operator because I've actually assigned the value to a variable. So it's called assignment operator. And these are called arithmetic operator. I would just say try it out, all the different operators, and see. Another operator is, I forgot, is percentage operator. So this, what it does, it gives you remainder. If I divide 1 by 2, what will be the remainder? Right? Be 1, right? If I divide 1 by 2, I will have a remainder, which is 1. Try this out. Remainder is a pretty important operator. You would use this in a lot of logical sense. I'll give you a few minutes to try some of these operators out. This class is very quiet. Feel free to ask questions, right? If you want to systematically learn things, right, this is a way to learn. Defining variable, data types, operators, then we learn about the for loops, statements like if else statement and things like that, and then go to more complex stuff. All right. There are some operators that call comparison operator. Comparison operator lets you compare two things, right? It could be two numbers. So I want to check if n1 and n2 are equal, right? So I would say, are they equal? So usually when you say equal, which means I'm assigning. So if I say equal, which means n1 is equal to 1, right? But I want to compare something to see if is n1 is equal to n2, then I would use triple equal sign or double equal sign. I would always use triple equal sign. There's a history behind it. Initially, JavaScript introduced double equal sign, but then it was too loosely defined. So then they introduced triple equal sign. So don't get confused. But this actually tells you whether they are equal or not. So let's say if they're equal, then it would output true. If they are not equal, then the n would be false, right? So in this case, they are not equal. So it should give me false, right? But if I make them equal, then it would give me true. So this is how it works. Okay, so this is called comparison operator. Right. Basically gives you true or false. Okay, so now we went through the comparison operator. The next thing you want to learn is some logical operators, right? Those can be really confusing if you've never done any logical stuff. So let's say if I if I have something called true, and there's an operator called and what it does is end means they both have to be true, then it's going to be true. So if n1 and n2 both true, then n is going to be true. Otherwise, it's going to be false. Okay. Right. A lot of times you use this when you say if, let's say, if you can say if it's raining outside and I do have umbrella in my house, then I'm going to go out. So they both have to be true, right? If only one of them is true, if it's raining outside, but I don't have umbrella, I'm not going to go out, right? Well, in this case, if you have an umbrella, it's not rainy, you will still go out. So it's a bad example, but you get the point, right? Or is this pipe. So on the keyboard and next to the backward slash, there's a pipe symbol. It's called OR operator, where only one of them have to be true. So let's say if both n1 and n2 are true, then obviously this is going to be true. If one of them is false, right, then it's still true because it's OR, which means either this or this, right? both don't have to be true for it to be true. For example, let's say if I have a situation where I need to buy something, right? And I need money. I can ask my mom. If she gives me, that's N1. Uh, or I can ask my dad. If he gives me money, I can buy that thing, right? Both don't have to say yes. If one of them gives me money, I can still buy it, right? So in those situations, I would use or operator. So I can ask her or him. If one of them said yes, I can buy this, right? If both, the only situation where you can't buy that item is they both say no, right? In that case, I don't have money. So this is called or operator. So and is used for when you want to enforce both conditions to be true to get something done. So you must be wondering, where do I use this, right? You use it at a lot of places, actually. This is a very common operator. Let's say if you build a website, for example, right? And you're writing a post, right? And in the post, you have some text, right? And also, user has permission to write the post, right? So you can check the permission. Does user have permission to write the post? Yes. And also you check whether the post has some content, right? The user has written. Then only make the post button enable, right? Otherwise, don't make it enable. Because if user doesn't have permission, but he has written something inside, then you don't want to post it because it's not going to be posted. So they both have to be true, right? So this is just the one example, but in a lot of cases, you will come across this kind of situation. Now you must be wondering what. Okay, so this is just a true and false. I'm not saying something, but you can compare. You can make this true or false by, let's say, if I have a thing called let variable mom said mom has mom gave money equal to true, or let's say $250 or something, right? It doesn't have to be true. She gave me $250. But dad gave me money equal to $0, right? And then let's say cost of game equal to 250, right? Then you would say, you can do and, right? So you can say, let can buy game equal to, if mom, well, I'll just copy this. If mom gave me money is greater than equal to the cost of the game, right? I need more or equal. I cannot have less, right? Or I can have similar situation where dad's money is also more than, right? And if I just simply check if this is the true, right? Now this is a more practical example, right? So this converts into some sort of true or false, right? So dad gave me money is 0. Is it greater than costs of the game, which is 250? No. So this is false. Mom gave me money, which is 250. Oh, sorry, this was mom, sorry. Mom gave me 250. Is it greater than equal to cost? Yes. So this satisfies. So this is true and this is false. So because it's or, which means only one needs to be satisfied, can buy game is going to be true. Right? So logical operators are pretty important. Any questions? I know we covered quite a bit. I think we are coming to the time, so I'm not gonna push too much. It's the first day, so I'm gonna give you maybe a few more minutes to write this and try it out, and then we can leave a little bit early today. I think few people did not join, so I'm expecting them to be joining. So I may have to cover this again next time a little bit. So, or at least speed through it for them. But yeah, try this out or create a new example for yourself where that is a situation. Think about where do you see a situation where both has to be true, right? A and B both have to be true for that scenario to be true, right? So if you go buy a house, you need to have a down payment, and you should be able to afford the monthly payment as well, right? That's a situation where can I buy a house? Do I have a down payment? Yes. Can I afford the monthly payment? No, you can't buy a house, right? So in the game also, you're going to make this kind of decisions, whether you're going to make a choice and you're going to compare the choice with other choices to make a decision, right? So anytime you want to make a decision, these operators are going to be basically it returns true or false at the end of the day, right? And that allows you to show something or hide something on the screen. Okay, and remember, so once you write something like this, make sure you save it, right? Give it a tag, so next time you have it for reference, so you can practice, right? I think we will take about 2 or 3 class, about 4 classes to learn some basic JavaScript before we can actually build something some basic games, right? But having the fundamentals is very important. If you don't understand, if you are not comfortable with writing the code, then it's gonna block you from moving along, right? So practicing, it's very important. So I would suggest, practice the console log, right? Create a different kind of variables, print it out, understand the types, some operators, right? Just getting used to it helps. Whenever you learn something new, the biggest blockage is you kind of forgot, what did I do? What was the syntax of that? How did I do that? I don't know. So I have to look it up, right? But if you have all this example saved up, you can just go one by one, or if you get blocked, you can just look at, oh, this is what I've done. So let me try it, and then practice it in your brain. It's just like a training your brain, right? Learning programming is all about training your brain. When I do this kind of coding, I don't have to think about it because I've been doing this for so long time. It's a second nature to me, right? But I teach Python for another class, and I'm not a regular Python developer, so my syntax get mixed up, and then sometimes, I have to look it up, right? So that's the difference between something that you practice and you remember, and something you did not practice and you have to reference. All right. Okay, so I think it's good, good enough for the first day. I don't want to burden with a lot of stuff. I would just say it's a good start. Um, and I would just, I'm gonna post this video in the Discord, so you guys can watch it if you need to. If you have examples, you probably don't have to watch it, but it's good there if you didn't make it to a class a day, so you can practice. Yeah, but anyway, if you get confused, just always send me a message on Discord. I'll reply right away. And yeah, any last question before we end? All right. I'm glad you guys were able to join. Yeah, I was looking forward to this class. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun making some cool games and a lot of learning. So welcome, and have a good evening. If just stay safe. I'll see you next week. Bye.